Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Realty Rundown with the Nic Wyse Team, your favorite real estate podcast. With me, as always, is Nathan Schwartz.
That's right.
Good morning, Nathan. We are
Morning.
actually coming to you Thursday morning, and this is going to be a pre-recorded episode, and that will explain the hat and the garb because I was out plowing driveways this morning and came back in and realized it was time to get to work. So didn't have time to get all cleaned up and beautified. My makeup department was out today.
Yeah, you look good either way, so it's
Yeah, I
gonna be
appreciate
okay.
it, man. I'm trying. So yeah, we're doing a little bit of a freelance episode here. We wanted to kind of start and just thank some of our clients. We've had a really great start to the year here.
Yes, we
So you
have.
see me kind of looking up. That's what I'm doing, kind of referencing what we've got going on right now. But like I said, we've had a really great start to the year, and we just wanted to extend our thanks and appreciation for the folks that have trusted us to help them with their real estate transactions here early in 2025. So Nathan, I know you have quite a bit pending, which is an amazing start. You know, people are saying, well, the interest rates aren't coming down. Surely buyers aren't buying.
Yep.
And yet, I believe you've already closed two properties for looks like Donald Ross, and
Hmm.
then just this week for Orland and Dorian Miller.
Yep.
And then you might have a list of your pendings in front of you. If you don't, I do. And maybe that'll come
Yeah, I've
up.
got them.
Yeah,
Well, one of them was pending, and then they closed as well just yesterday, which would be Gary and Nikki Whitmer.
that's
And then
right.
Trevor Nash and Klotz closed tomorrow.
Mhm.
And then we've got Connor Schmucker and Marcos Reyes.
Yeah, yeah, there we go. So yeah, pretty. Oh, and then I think another one that just went pending for you,
Oh, yeah. Sam Atwater.
young Sam Atwater, which is a
Yes,
cool
sir.
story for me. I know Sam from church from when he was a kid. So when he reached out to the team, I was really, really pleased just to hear from him and then to know that he's put himself in a position as such a young person to buy his first home.
Yeah, it's really
So
cool. He was
yeah,
telling me when we went to look at the house, he was telling me, he's like, yeah, Nick probably hasn't seen me since I was, like this tall. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
I think it's been a while because we moved churches, so yeah, we don't get to see that family anymore. But I was
Right.
always impressed by him. He's a really well spoken and a stout young man, so had no doubt that he was going to be successful.
Yeah,
But I think
super
anybody
quick.
who's in there,
Yep.
I'm not even sure. Sam's 20 maybe or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's really young.
and buying
Yeah.
his first house is a pretty awesome thing. So
Yeah, it
we've
is.
obviously seen that. I've got to see it over my 15 years. Young people buying a home and then they turn around and buy something bigger down the road, and they're always like, "This is our equity." Like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, this is amazing.
Yep.
That first home propels you to buy that second
Yeah.
home.
You kind of get in the game, if you will. I mean, it's from there on, you've got your equity from your current home and previous homes helping you out. I mean, once you get in, that's all that matters is get in, get a good house, and get in. That's what
Yep,
matters.
that's it. Let us help you buy it right. Make sure it's
Yep.
the right house for you, and yeah, and then you start going backwards at some point. I'm not quite there myself, but then when you start going to the smaller and smaller house, you just start. I mean, that's your savings,
Right.
right?
Right.
That's the money that you put away and put to the side.
Yep.
So yeah, really, really cool. Again, Nate, great start to the year. It's been
Thanks.
amazing.
Yeah, it's been great for us.
Um, yeah, speaking of, you mentioned Gary and Nikki Whitmer. They were one of the closings that we had on both sides. So they ended up buying a home from the Ritchie estate, which family friend, the Ritchies, Danny Ritchie, reached out to me. His parents have unfortunately passed, and the home that they had been in for the last 20 years was going to go on the market. And so we were able to link up Gary and Nikki Whitmer with that property, in turn sell their home to a first-time home buyer. So that was kind of a cool day for us yesterday, where all that took place. Um, so those two, yeah, I've managed to close those two. I've had a number of closings. I don't think we need to go through all those, but I did want to mention a couple more that we've got coming up. We have a listed coming soon, which means we can advertise it. As you know, if you've been following the real estate team, the Nic Wyse team, we do 3D virtual tours. So even though this home is like full of stuff right now for an estate sale, we're able to use our AI mapping technology and do a layout of the home that shows it basically as a walkthrough. If you were walking
Yep.
through it and there wasn't stuff all over the floor, it also takes out personal effects. So if you've got personal photos on the wall and you're like, oh, I don't want those on the virtual tour, it'll take them out. So it's a really cool option you have. That is 1329 East Douglas Road in Goshen. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath home with a partially finished basement. It's got a fireplace in the living room on the main level and a fireplace in the family room down below. Big double corner lot, really cool place, and that is going to be available for 249.9.
Nice.
So that
Sweet.
is on the market. You can now. You can watch that virtual tour, and then it'll actually go for showings on March 5th. And then we got one other one. Our good friends up in Michigan sent down a referral for us, and I've got a chance to meet Christina Nickerson over at 210 Superior Boulevard in Elkhart. That is going to be hitting the market tomorrow, most likely. May creep into Saturday for that one, but that's going to be a nice, affordable entry-level home. It's got about 750 square foot finished with a detached garage. It's all new siding, new roof. I mean, a lot of new windows. Basically a rebuilt home from the studs out, and then a lot of remodeling on the inside as well too. But it's got some nice engineered hardwood floors. Really great home. It's fenced in. If you got a dog, that's going to be a good one for anybody starting up or winding down. Really cool place over in kind of that East Jackson area in Elkhart, which is really popular and kind of turning over area right now. We're seeing a lot of folks moving out and younger families or younger people moving into that area. So that's us just giving a shout out again, thanking everybody for working with us. It's been a tremendous start to the year. Looking forward to a great 2025. Don't believe all the hype. If you hear it, it's a good market.
Yeah, it is.
So the main thing we wanted to dig into today was something called specific performance. And as it relates to real estate, that's basically a portion of your contract law. And Nate, I know you had a couple instances already in your career where you've kind of had to touch on this with some folks.
Yeah.
Do you want to, without maybe naming names, give us a couple
Right.
examples of what you've dealt with?
I was like, I'm coming in. I was like, don't name names. Don't accidentally name the names. but yeah, just more so like I was talking with Nick about it, the other day, but more so just when you're purchasing a house, it's a very serious purchase. This isn't just you walking into a local car dealership and, you decide last minute that you want to back out of the sale. You can do that at your local car dealer, but when you're buying a home, it's very important that the terms of the contract, it's a state binding contract. So it's important that we heed to those terms and actually follow them, because if you don't, there could be some repercussions, some legal repercussions, and I'd say monetary repercussions as well if they decide to keep your earnest money or something like that. But
yeah, that's kind of a best case scenario. When specific law kind of gets cited and it comes up. And again, I'll toot Remax Results horn. This is not just the Nic Wyse Team. This is Remax Results. Thank you, Todd Stock and Larry Phillips, for your excellent leadership, and Tina. So we keep an attorney on retainer who's going to be able to help in some of these situations. We've had to go to him in the past and kind of get a ruling, if you will. More so, it's kind of his interpretation of the case as it may be. And sometimes we have to let the other party know that we're having to threaten specific performance. And that is whereby their buyer or their seller, can work on both sides. Mm-hmm. They have to specifically perform the contract that they've agreed to. Kind of like I said, the best case scenario, if someone wants out of a contract and they have no remedy, is to lose their earnest money. Or sometimes there could be a buyout or things of that nature. If a buyer's trying to buy your property and you suddenly change your mind, you're like, we can't leave the childhood home. I've seen it happen before where a seller will actually offer a pretty significant amount of money to kind of buy out that contract and say, hey, if you'll sign this mutual release, we're willing to give up this much compensation for your time lost, for your inability to find another property during this time.
Right.
And that's kind of how the earnest money works on the other side. Mm-hmm. As you know, Nate, a buyer, I think you're going to collect some earnest money later today. You're going to drive around in this very snowy weather. But
that's right. I can't wait.
So Nate will be collecting that earnest money, and then that gets deposited in an escrow account. It has to be a non-interest bearing escrow account. It can't be commingled with other funds of the brokerage. It can also be held by a title company, but it typically is held by one of the brokers, the listing broker or the selling broker. And then that money is it ratifies the contract. It says, okay, we've got a stake in this now. And it is irrefundable if the buyer defaults on any of the events that they specifically have to perform to again. So you've got your inspections. If you go through, you do your inspections, there's no problems, or the seller agrees to make repairs, that's not a remedy to get out of the contract. Your financing, if the appraisal's back and the appraisal's good, and underwriter issues basically underwriting approval on your loan, you no longer have the recourse to get out for financing, as opposed to if the appraisal is cut under value, or if there's issues with the home that would require repairs and the seller won't make them. Those are ways that a buyer can get back out and get their earnest money back. There's a lot of things that can be added in there. We won't go over them all, but we do go over them all when you meet with us and you're writing your offer, so you know what your remedies are. But that's really how specific performance works. And again, it's applicable when one party kind of wants to get out of there and terminate the contract, but maybe doesn't have the right to do so. So again, the contract has to be valid. It has to be enforceable. And in Indiana, a lot of people don't know this. Other than attorneys, real estate agents are the other entity that can enter you into contract.
Yep.
So when you're sitting down with us and you're saying, hey, I want to buy that home, I'm going to sign these documents. Make sure you're not going willy-nilly on this. You're affecting, someone else's life. This is a huge transaction. It's a huge purchase. I mean, Nate, you've seen that already in your careers, how this can really be a difficult thing if one party doesn't understand it over the other.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unfortunately, sometimes it has to be threatened. I have still, over 15 years, not had to pursue it any further, not had to go to court over this. But we have, like I said, we have had to threaten it. We have had to go to our attorney that we keep on retainer and get a ruling on this.
Yeah. So that's why, I recommend to people too. And, again, we go over this with you if you want to write an offer, but there's situations, of course, if there's multiple offers in the house, you have limited time to make your decision. We want to get the ball rolling, but I think it's very important as a buyer, take some time when we walk through a home. We don't expect you to tell us, right then and there if you want the house or not. I do think it's important, especially with a purchase this size, just take some time, whether it's just the evening or you want to take a full day. I don't care, but just make sure it's the right fit for you, because I think that's more so where I've seen it come into play is when someone made a snap decision and then they decided, 2 weeks into it, oh crap, what did I do? I just saw this house come to the market. Oh boy, what do I do now? So I highly recommend just take some time, read through it, make sure you're making the right decision for you and your family.
Yeah, it's always nice when you get a chance to sleep on it, pray on it. Make sure you're not having any nightmares about the house over the evening. Wake up in the morning and be like, yeah, that's our home. It is tough, sometimes, like you mentioned, they're like, this is the right house and we like it and we're going to buy it. And then the next day they're online and or maybe they've still got our drip campaign. They're still getting emails from us and they're like, what about this house? I'm like, kind of under contract now on this one. So that's that can be a difficult thing. So again, just take your time. We're not in a rush. I've been accused of being too too laissez-faire sometimes, as far as not being that used car salesman mentality of you got to buy it now. You better not leave. You can't even walk out the door. You got to buy this thing. It's going to be gone. We don't do that. And we don't do that for either side. When the seller's ready to sell, they're ready. I do not hound people. I like to stay in touch and give market updates. And that's one other thing I don't want to forget about, Nate. You do have a listing that I wanted to promote real quick too, because it's a pretty cool place down in Syracuse, right?
It's I have the address unless you have it.
Fire away if you got it handy.
Yeah, it's 409 West Boston Street, Syracuse. But it's a 4-bed, 1-bath home. I mean, nice new kitchen, new flooring, new paint. The roof, I think, was put on in 2021, I believe, but it's got a new front porch and back deck. Really nice place. It's listed at 205, but it's a really nice place.
Yeah, that's a pretty large house for 205. So that's not a bad deal at all. And I think that one's with it's been renovated. With James?
Yeah, James Yoder with Horizon Homesteads.
Yeah. So it's always nice when you get a professional that's actually remodeling your house. And when you walk in there, you've got a lot of new. And a lot of things that you're not going to have to worry about for a long time. So if you're looking in the Syracuse area, that's definitely one to get a hold of us about. Nate can take you through that. I thought it was kind of interesting. It's Boston Street and Syracuse, because those are kind of both East Coast names. You got your Syracuse, New York, and of course Boston, Mass. Maybe there's something special about that.
Oh yeah,
you get a little Boston cream pie at closing. We'll hook it up.
I love it.
I need to change my thing. Not a licensed baker either. And that's another thing. If you're listening and you have any deep-seated questions about this, we aren't attorneys. Obviously, we do understand contract laws that relates to real estate. But if you want to really dig deeper on this, it's always a good idea to contact a real estate attorney as well. Not a licensed real estate attorney.
That's right.
It's really good brokers. Well, Nate, that's mostly what I wanted to cover. I knew it was going to be a shorter episode today, and I'm sure people like that. Little dip into contract law is always what everybody's going to need for their Monday morning, which is when this will actually air. We again appreciate the opportunity to record this on a different day, because our schedules are getting really, really busy. Even with the weather outside, real estate is booming in many ways. So if you guys have a need, please do reach out to us. And thank you for now for joining us on the Realty Rundown with the Nic Wyse Team.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
We'll talk to you guys soon.